I still think that we are kind of in the middle of this kind of third large bull market. And I wouldn't be surprised if it really gets out of control kind of in the next 2.5 years, potentially even to an even greater degree than 2017. A lot of the market infrastructure, custody infrastructure, insurance infrastructure, and all these other things have been built and are being built right now that will allow for much bigger players to get involved. Like really in 2017, that was by far predominantly retail driven. But right now we have the kind of pipelines which will allow institutional players to get involved. And given, once again, not only Bitcoin's scarcity fundamentally, but even like there's even less Bitcoin in circulation that's like available on exchanges, that's available for active trading. And if we see even a modicum of institutional interest, which I believe strongly we will, then I think there will come a point where Bitcoin's price will simply go vertical.
All right. Hey, welcome back everybody to Altcoin Daily, where you subscribe for our daily videos on everything going on with Bitcoin, crypto, the whole market. My name is Aaron, and this is technical and fundamental analyst Murad Muhmudov. He's one of the co-founders of Adaptive Capital. And in this video, which was streamed only a few hours ago, for 36 minutes straight, Murad gives his thoughts on the current state of Bitcoin and enlightens us as to what he thinks will happen with Bitcoin in the future. Now, Murad, I don't know him personally, but we've referenced him plenty of times on this channel before, so you know him. He usually has pretty valuable perspective, really insightful, and I'm going to play you a few clips from this video. Before we get into it, let me just say, I really liked this video. I'm going to leave a link to the whole stream in the description. If you are like me, you're always looking for good Bitcoin podcast episodes, and I recommend this one, and it's very current. So let's get into it. And before we go too far, before we talk about what to expect with Bitcoin in the long term, let me just say, I understand that I showed you another video of Murad about a month or so ago when Murad went on record. He was with Willy Woo, he was on the Tone Vase show, and he was very short-term, not bearish. Originally, he did not think that we would break below the 200-day moving average, which we did, and we're here today. So the question is, what are Murad's updated thoughts on the market short-term, and how did we get here, and what's probable to happen now, and what can we expect as we end this year and get into the next year?
Clearly, the bullishness that was to be expected from the halving coming up got front ran a little bit too early in the first half of 2019. Personally, I'm expecting a little bit more of a bleed with kind of a slight downward slant, so to speak, until the end of the year. We probably need one more flush down. But after that, I'm expecting sort of more sideways and then a beginning of a grind upwards. I am extremely bullish for 2020. I think that kind of late December onwards, I'm expecting a beginning of more bullish developments.
And hey, by the way, guys, this video that we're watching, let me tell you about it. The host is called Cory Klippsten, and I guess he's the founder of this company called GiveBitcoin. Now, before I watched this, I'd never heard of GiveBitcoin before, and I'm not affiliated with the company at all, but I was just watching this. I was like, man, this actually sounds like a good idea. And then Murad was interested in the company. You could tell he liked it. So let me give this company a free plug, and you tell me if this doesn't sound like a good idea, because I'm going to describe it to you. So GiveBitcoin solves the problem of giving Bitcoin as a gift. Think about it. If you wanted to give the gift of Bitcoin, maybe not to your brother or mother or father, if you were just giving the gift of Bitcoin to your friend, there'd be all sorts of problems, right? Most likely your friend wouldn't care about it, wouldn't understand it, probably wouldn't protect it or store it correctly. I mean, he might end up losing it. But besides all of that, I mean, even if you were to give Bitcoin as a gift, now all of a sudden you're the babysitter. You're the person assisting them on their journey that could last a year or 2 years into the Bitcoin world. And like I said, this is fine if it's your brother or your father or something, but it's very inconvenient if you want to give Bitcoin as a gift to other people in your life. So anyways, GiveBitcoin, the service that they actually provide, if you give somebody Bitcoin, first of all, automatically it's going to be put into a time lock, which you set. And then throughout this time lock, the gift receiver, the company basically gives them an education. So they break it down, simple to understand, so they can truly understand the value of the Bitcoin you gave them. And hopefully in this time, the Bitcoin continues to grow. They see it growing. They can't take it out of the time lock. But I guess apparently the Bitcoin gift is 100% owned and controlled by the recipient. So it was an interesting concept. And again, I'm not affiliated with this company. It seemed to me like a good idea. And also the way they were talking, it kind of seemed like this was a great way to onboard tons of new Bitcoin users. Actually, we have a clip. We have a clip of Cory, the founder, talking about this goal. I thought it was pretty cool.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I like
Dude.
that.
Yeah, we're really excited. I mean, honestly, like you've probably seen the same stat that I have that one of the OG funds put out. They basically ran the analysis that there's probably only about 7 million people that own more than $100 worth of Bitcoin globally. And, it's our goal to create another 21 million people that own at least $100 worth of Bitcoin. And then hopefully those sats that people earn end up being worth, 10x or 100x in the future. And this ends up being like a really meaningful activity.
So as you can see, this guy's an enthusiast just like us. It seems like he's a good guy. So if you want to learn more, watch the whole video. Anyways, I'll leave you with this. This is the final clip, the one that I teased in the very beginning of this. It's Murad giving his long-term thoughts on the future of Bitcoin. And let me tell you, I don't disagree. And the reason I like talking about this kind of stuff is because at times like these, when the market is dull, when people are feeling exhausted, because we're still early, keep in mind, and it's easy to get discouraged. I think just knowing that there's this global Bitcoin and crypto community out there really helps. Anyways, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to our channel for daily videos. If you got value in this video, support the content, give this video a like, give the original video a like when you watch it. And without further ado, here is Murad's long-term outlook.
So let's talk about like way off in the future. I mean, I think you reached a new peak of popularity last fall with your guest appearance on Anthony Pompliano's show Off the Chain, and talked about like, with a very critical mind and rational thinking and not just hopium, why eventually we get to something like $10 million a coin. I would love just kind of like a recap of that, and then just kind of any sort of twists in your thinking, because it's been a year now, and just kind of how you're thinking about the long-term price progression.
Absolutely. So I still strongly believe essentially almost everything that I've said back then. I think it's inevitable that Bitcoin or something like Bitcoin, but at the moment, there's really no other competition, essentially supplants fiat forms of money in the world. I think that as time goes by, more and more people will realize that simply Bitcoin will preserve their wealth far better than fiat money does. I think kind of more and more people around the world are realizing that this discrepancy between Bitcoin's scarcity, while essentially all other forms of monies and currencies is just constantly getting inflated, right? So I think as Bitcoin gains popularity, it's both price growth and then other just network growth will continue to accelerate. I would say that, so here's kind of the way I'm thinking about it. They always say that like people underestimate what's going to happen in like 1 or 2 years, but they underestimate what's going to happen in 10 years. And right now, I think even though the market has quieted down a little bit in the last kind of half a year or so, I would say that there's a lot of sort of technological and infrastructural underpinnings that are being built. And I still think that we are kind of in the middle of this kind of third large bull market. And I wouldn't be surprised if it really gets out of control kind of in the next 2.5 years, potentially even to an even greater degree than 2017. A lot of the market infrastructure, custody infrastructure, insurance infrastructure, and all these other things have been built and are being built right now that will allow for much bigger players to get involved. Like really in 2017, that was by far predominantly retail driven. But right now we have the kind of pipelines which will allow institutional players to get involved. And given, once again, not only Bitcoin's scarcity fundamentally, but even like there's even less Bitcoin in circulation that's like available on exchanges, that's available for active trading. And if we see even a modicum of institutional interest, which I believe strongly we will, then I think there will come a point where Bitcoin's price will simply go vertical.